Hi everyone. Imagine waking up every morning and hating what you look like in the mirror. Not because something's wrong with you, but because society has convinced you it is. Every Instagram post, every TikTok, every magazine, all screaming the same message. You're not enough. Not thin enough, not skinny enough, not perfect enough. For millions of people, especially young women, these constant pressures have turned into silent individual battles, creating obsessive exercising and dieting, skipping meals, and even self-hatred disguised as self-improvement. Toxic beauty standards are fueling eating disorders and ruining lives. It's time to stop letting media define our worth and to reinforce to everyone that each body and face should be celebrated instead of chasing after impossible images we see today in the media. The purpose of my presentation is to convince you to recognize these toxic standards and to help spread awareness of the negative mental and physical effects this may have on someone affected by these issues. I'm a credible source on this topic because I have done extensive research and have found many scholarly articles that support my information. As someone who is a college student and a young adult, you should care about this social issue because many of us are affected or may know people that will be affected by these toxic standards. As children grow up and face puberty, they are being accustomed to their new growing bodies while developing their own definition of body image that is influenced by their social and biological factors. So the basis of what they define body image to be stems from their family, peers, and media, meaning pressure to emulate the muscular body types of men and ultra thin body types for women stems from their community, family and friends, and social media. An article published by the National Library of Medicine by Marjorie Hogan, titled Body Image, Eating Disorders, and Media, states that a study was proved that if a mother was to consider weight status to be of importance, their children would most likely prioritize being thinner and diet culture. The media was also seen to be considered a super peer by Hogan because media promoted Western standards of women and men to signal to children that that is what they should look like, creating even more discrepancies between young growing bodies and models and actors in Hollywood. Related to this, dissatisfaction with their body image relates to unhealthy eating behaviors in young women. Unhealthy eating is a major problem with young adults and must come to a stop. It was reported in another article by the National Library of Medicine titled The Impact of the Media on Eating Disorders in Children and Adolescents by N.M. Morris that stated that over 60% of adolescent women are actively trying to lose weight. As a result of disordered eating, almost 29 million Americans have died. Two of these examples, as I mentioned previously, were that 29 million Americans die each year, which is approximately one person every 52 minutes, and our second example, that eating disorders also make people 11 times more likely to commit suicide. This social issue has had tremendously negative implications on adolescents and young adults, and we must do something about these toxic beauty standards that are causing this damage. Which leads me to my first implication that family and friends' outlook on these beauty standards may be affecting young children around them more than they know. Another study, which I mentioned previously by Hogan, that consisted of 10,000 young girls and boys, that showed that children are more likely to adapt to the ideals of whatever beauty standard their mother believes in. Which leads me to my second most important implication, that media is the main cause of what these mothers think and what children would think when dealing with their own viewpoint on body image. In the article, Media Influence on Unrealistic Beauty Standards and Their Effect on Body Image by Kiki Varenta-Piccola highlights that social media algorithms will often filter their content to the specific beauty standards found in that country, making it even more difficult for those who may not fit into that specific standard to accept themselves. Given this, we must stop letting media outdated beauty standards shape how we view ourselves or others. In conclusion, toxic beauty standards are a major problem for adolescents in America. The primary purpose of my speech today was to persuade you to stop accepting these outdated beauty standards and to create a community of self-love and diversity. It's time to change these toxic, outdated standards created by society and start embracing who we truly are. This change can begin in our homes, community, and most importantly, within ourselves. When we stop reinforcing these toxic standards, they stop controlling us. Thank you.